So let me just tell you again, most of you saw roses for the speaker, okay, from my garden, okay, and a piece of Tupperware and then Ted got for a gift for helping out. He got a dish towel from France, but you all know that Jane is a wonderful professional in this field and also a dear friend. And I learned a lot and enjoyed the first session. Did anybody learn anything? And so now this one, in my research, I have never found this. What do you say and what do you do when you go visit someone with dementia? So, Jane, thank you so much for driving over. Visitation. Okay. All right.
So you see all these initials up here? And there's a bunch more I could have put up here. Okay? But LPC retired. It's a licensed professional counselor. There's others I could have put up. And you know, you go in to do a presentation, a symposium or something, and I was standing on the stage, and they normally just read the introduction and not do a beautiful job like Charlotte has. And they would say, this is E. Jane Wyatt, and she has a BS, and she has MA, and she has MS, and she's an LPC. And from the front row, where my mother was sitting, loud enough for me to hear on stage, she said, well, the only one she deserves is the BS degree. Now, as you can tell by that, I got my humor from my mom. She was witty, she was funny. I absolutely adored her, if you haven't figured that already. She was not perfect, but she was truly the most loving, generous person that you could ask for. And as her number one fan, I was also her number one protector. So as her dementia progressed, I got more and more angry, as I said a little bit ago, with family and friends, and I must admit with their church family, because they abandoned her. Because they didn't come to see her, they didn't come to see her at our home, they didn't come to see her in the memory care center. And as I said, again, I kind of got ahead of myself a while ago, because this is such a part of my message. I realized finally it wasn't through lack of love, it's because they didn't understand. They didn't know how to talk, how to visit, what to expect. And so that was my start with developing these presentations and these books. Because what happens with people is they get in. The marvelous thing about lack of planning is failure comes as a complete surprise. Okay? You say, oh, sure, I'm going to go see my old friend Ralph, who's got dementia. And the caregiver wants to say, oh, well, let me tell you what to do when you go see him. Oh, Ralph and I have known each other for 30 years. We've got so many memories and fishing stories to talk about. And they get there, and Ralph doesn't know who they are. He doesn't remember fishing. And they're like, after 5 minutes, is it time to leave now? Because they did not come prepared. And so that's what I'm going to be covering this afternoon, is some of the mental. You saw I really focused on the emotional preparation for a caregiver, dementia caregiver. How they can say, I'm doing my best. How they can say, I need help. How they can set up their health. Well, in the same way, there's a mental preparation, I believe, for family, friends, church families to go see a person with dementia. And there's certainly physical preparation. Now, this is going to be a little harder for me, a presentation, because I normally have a big bag that I take with me. And I start pulling things out. It's like a show and tell show. Well, obviously, I couldn't carry that on the airplane down here. So I'm going to try and replicate, just on slides, some of the things to give you examples as far as activities. Now, we got into this a little bit. You're going to be a nice person and be a friend to someone who has dementia? Well, I don't know anything. I'm Sergeant Schultz. I know nothing about dementia. And so sometimes that will stop people when they think, well, I don't know anything about dementia, and they can't tell me, so I'm not going to go because I don't know anything. Well, I'm going to take care of that in 2 minutes. Okay? I want you to know, in my opinion, common things to know about dementia. Okay? Why do you keep saying dementia instead of Alzheimer's? Pardon me. Dementia is... I also learned that I have a new diet program because I can't get my food. I can't get food in my mouth with my right hand, and so the donut was enough of a challenge. Okay, but dementia is an umbrella. It's an umbrella. It covers. What'd you say?
122.
122. Now, dementia also is sometimes used by doctors for something that can be reversed. If somebody has a UTI and they say that they're having hallucinations and whatever, or feeling bad, and they really don't have the progressive dementia. They're having something else. But dementia is a big umbrella. It covers 112. The Alzheimer's is like 80% of dementia patients. And then we have 60-70%. You have vascular, which creates inadequate flow to the brain, but it's not like you can get a valve put in and something and it reverses. It's permanently shut down. Okay, and a sign of vascular dementia often is when they start having a series of mini strokes. Lewy body, cognitive fluctuations, visual hallucinations, and motor symptoms, often more physical reaction and intense mood changes. I want to know if somebody has Lewy bodies because that is the one that might have the most aggressive changes. Personality. Yes, ma'am.
It sounds like here, like you're saying, Lewy bodies. Would you spell the word?
Lewy''S. Lewy's, and then body. Sorry, separate word. All right. And the last one, y'all have all seen, since I know y'all watch movies, Bruce Willis.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce Willis has frontal temporal. Okay. It affects behavior, and it especially affects language, often leading to some unusual and also sometimes socially embarrassing behaviors. So that's just the top 4. Now, do you need to remember those? No. Not in my world. I need to know somebody has dementia. It's up to the caregiver to prepare me for any sort of behavioral changes or anything that I need to know. But as caregivers, I don't think you need to read a book, 300-page book on all the different kinds of dementia. You're new, aren't you? Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. Yeah, I don't have an extemporaneous bone in my body. Yep. Okay. Testing is still based primarily on behavior. Now, what she said is true. There are some brain scans now. There are some spinal taps where they're looking at the types of proteins and plaque that's built up in the body. Some doctors know about it, some don't. Sometimes you have to go to a real big institution like Mayo to even get those tests. They're not always commonly available locally, okay? So what I prefer to say is that, to make a blanket statement and still sound like an expert, is right now it's based on behavior and patterns. Now, is there a test? No. Doesn't everyone get dementia? No. Praise the Lord. Okay? But the statistics Statistics are bad after that. And as, what was her name? Loretta said, okay, where is she? Okay, Loretta said it's not necessarily a part of aging, but age is a risk factor. After age 65, risk doubles every 5 years. So, yeah, but look at the bright side. That means if you're over 65, which I am, I've got a 1 to 2% risk factor of having dementia. Okay. At age 70, it goes up to 3 to 4%. Hallelujah. Okay? Hallelujah. Now, so that means you have a 96% chance of not getting it. It is not genetic. Where am I? I have a little touch of, okay. It is not necessarily genetic, or it hasn't been proven that if your mother or father had it, that you'll get it. As far as I'm concerned, it's the same risk factors as anything else. Okay? And that's why you should think of it. Because what should you be doing to take care of yourself? You should exercise, you should eat right, not donuts from Vicky's, which were marvelous. Okay? Exercise, smoking, alcohol, all of that. Okay? You don't want to stir up any of the risk factors. You don't want to not remember them. Cures? Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Again, with the going on of research, there are new medications that are coming out all the time. Some still in testing stage, some not. Some, the ones that are not, that are out for doctors to prescribe, don't cure it, but they may slow down the process. And that's a matter of working with the doctor. Okay, and so because of the types and differences, it's up to the caregiver to mentally prepare for any form of dementia. So, you have a general knowledge of dementia. The next step, I believe, is honest self-reflection. Have you no, this is a theme I talked about. The dementia caregivers got to be honest with yourself. Okay? Well, if you are a family or friend, you need to be honest with yourself also. Or you'll be one of the people that abandons not just the dementia patient, but the dementia caregiver. Okay, self-awareness is the ability to take an honest look at what you're feeling inside. You know, why are you abandoning them? 10 years ago, it wasn't anything to call up and say, hey, I'm coming over for coffee, coming over for cocktails, whatever. Okay? But now, I just don't want to. Just don't want to. And so it begins with honest self-reflection. When I'm talking to people, I say, well, why aren't you going to see them? One of the things they'll say, well, I don't know how they will behave. I don't know what to say to them. Right? And that's true. But don't let that stop you. It's like children are not afraid of the dark. They're afraid of not knowing what's in the dark. You don't need to be afraid of not knowing about dementia. You need to be flexible and able to adapt and learn in situations like this. I assume this will be on your YouTube channel. Cool. You know, and tell other people to learn when you can about how to help these people. My visit is of no value because they won't remember. Not true. Not true. And this, I hope, is something that's on the handout page. Feelings last longer than memories. Feelings last longer than memories. You can ask, I bet you can ask April. April, you've done a lot of caregiving, right? Okay. When they have someone that they know, they might not remember their name, but they know them, and they come to visit, and put some emphasis on them and one-on-one and love and care for them, they're going to be in a good mood the rest of the day. Might even carry away to the next day. Now, yes, a few hours later, they may not remember that anybody was there. Do I need to do something? Okay, good. Okay. They might not remember anyone that was there, but they know they feel good because for that brief amount of time, somebody made them feel loved and appreciated and valued. And those are the feelings that all of us want, but especially when you have no cognitive memory. Okay? Sometimes people don't want to go because, but for the grace of God, there goes I. I could be that dementia patient. I might be. Statistically, 1 in 3 of us probably are going to be some form of dementia unless medical research moves along. Okay? But is that any reason to stop loving someone? Because you might be like them. I would think it's a way of paying it forward and still honoring and respecting someone that you once loved and that who once loved you. Now, I know down here, because I'm on a number of websites, y'all have the greatest community down here for taking care of abandoned dogs. Now, I'm a cat person, and I take note of this. I don't see as many cats. But every Facebook group is always about the dogs. So I know there are so many compassionate people down here. And I know if all of us walked out and there was a dog that had been hit on the street, how many people would rush over and take it to the vet? Well, why do we think that isn't the same compassion you could show somebody who is cognitively impacted?
Amen.
Okay? Yes, Ted?
There can be a tremendous sense of joy as well. A friend of mine had a stroke about 2 years ago. I started getting to know him about 3 months after the stroke. About 3 months ago, he said, there's a silver lining to this stroke. And I said, what's that? He said, well, I know I've only known you for 9 months or a year, but I can't remember when you never were my friend. I mean, you know, yeah.
Thank you. I'm taking a Dr. Pepper break. No, it's right there. It's right, the glass right in front of you. Right in front of you. There we go. Thank you. My breakfast of champions. Thank you. Oh, I don't have any. That's Charlotte. Charlotte, that woman wants a piece of writing paper. Do we have any more?
I have no more handouts.
And that's such a shame because we're having a test. Okay, but for the grace of God, show them the same compassion you would an animal. Now, I didn't put this in here, but I get this from family members. I never liked him anyway. He was an abusive father. Why do I need to deal with him now? Well, going back to, is it too much to ask to show compassion to someone? No matter how they treated you in the past, it's a matter of how you treat them now. Okay? And then anticipatory grief. I don't think that it's ever more prevalent than among dementia patients because of how long this disease possibly progresses. Okay? And you know you're going to lose them. And you know you're going to lose them a little bit each day. And so it's anticipatory. You grieve way ahead of losing them. Still not a reason not to visit, not to interact. Yes, ma'am.
I'd say another reason, another attitude is she doesn't know who I am anymore. So why should I go?
Goes back to the same thing. It doesn't matter if she remembers who you are. Feelings are going to last. And what about your feelings? I'm going to get into that more toward the end of this presentation. You know, when I said in the first presentation that there aren't benefits if you're a dementia caregiver, it's really not true. Because I got so many benefits from the life lessons, and I'm still getting so many benefits from working with people and working with dementia caregivers, and I got so many benefits from memories of my mother. Okay? There are benefits. It's up to you to search them out. So we talked about general knowledge, honest self-reflection, acceptance of their reality. Ooh. Their reality is not today in this moment, nor is it going to be consistent. Did anyone besides me see Harry Potter movies? Yeah, a number of people. Do you remember the moving staircases in the dormitory? That's why I see the dementia mind. What it was in this children's book is that the staircases would just arbitrarily move. And sometimes they'd go to a different room, sometimes they'd go to a blank wall, but you never knew where the staircase was taking you. Well, that's the way I see a dementia mind. What may be good one day isn't good the next day. And yet that doesn't mean that that's forever lost over here. The next day it may be vice versa again. Okay? So you need to join their reality. You may look like your mother. And so you go to see your father with dementia and he starts talking to you like you're the mother. Okay? Or you may look like a cousin. Or they may think the year is 1940. How's the war going? 44, sorry. Their reality is not set in what our reality is. And it's really hard with dementia. I mean, you go to see somebody who has got a physical illness, cancer, and they've lost weight and they don't look good. And so it's easier to empathize with them and be able to converse with them. You go to see someone with dementia and she looks like me. There's nothing outwardly wrong, okay? And so no matter how they look, they aren't the same person inside. Communication, and this is the one I could spend days on. Becoming bilingual, okay? And these also could be used for the first one anyway, for a marriage rule. Don't argue. Just don't argue. This is one of those golden lessons. I have learned not to argue as much about people as I used to. We have this innate want to be right. I am right. Somebody gave me a Post-it pad that said, let's just keep this short and assume I'm right. Post-it note. Apparently they know me very well. Okay. But when you're with a dementia patient, what does it matter if they think it's 1962? What does it matter if they think their dad's picking them up after school for ice cream? What does it matter? Don't argue. Join them in their reality. A friend of mine went to see her mother. Give me just a minute. And her mother wanted to go to the front lobby because they were posting the nursing test scores that day. Okay, so they went to the front line. Well, they're not here today, probably tomorrow. Yeah, don't argue. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Last week I'm with my mom, and she's telling me that she's got to go pick somebody up at the bus station, and we gotta leave right now, or we're gonna miss them. So I try not to argue. I try to, we'll leave soon to go pick them up at the bus station. Just, we'll have some tea first and then we'll go. I couldn't talk around it. So I said, okay, let's go to the bus station. So we get in the car, and then on the way to the Akimiki bus station, she changes her mind. She says, no, they're at my house. Of course, the house has been sold, a gazillion years ago. And so I said, oh, sure, we'll go by the house. So we drive by the house, and I think that when we get to the house, she'll see that it's not the right colors. and she'll immediately, oh, it's not my house anymore. And that did happen, but she would not let go of the saying about the bus station of picking up something. Well, maybe they're at the bus station. We'll still drive right by the bus station and see if they're there. Drive by the bus station, and there's, of course, nobody there. It's just like, okay. And so I figured now it's safe to like move on to like a different activity, and as soon as I turn the corner and going back to like go to the Malibu or something, shoot again, we have to pick somebody up from the bus station. And we just went to the bus station. Remember, we went to your house and we went to the bus station over there. And it was literally for the next 2 hours picking up people at the bus station. So what do I do then? Even when I try to join her reality, she won't switch gears.
Have a suggestion. Okay? I wish I could create a slide of this. I always think of like Sherlock Holmes, this little cap on. Become a detective. There's something in her mind that she can't communicate to you. Is it about the people she wants to pick up? Is it about, her house? What's in her mind? Did you say what? I can't remember. Tell me about the people that you want to pick up.
We had that conversation.
Okay.
Also.
And what are you going to do with them when they get here? I guess they miss. Okay. Well, sometimes you're just not going to get through it. Remind me of that one. Let's just jump to therapeutic fibbing. Therapeutic fibbing. The preachers say, "Thou shalt not lie." And I'm here to say to you today, thou shalt lie. Okay? Therapeutic. The reason we don't lie is because we're trying not to hurt people, make a situation worse, whatever. Therapeutic fibbing with a dementia patient is still trying to keep them comfortable without making them lesser, without confronting them. Because why? So therapeutic, did you tell them, I just got a call from them and they missed the bus today. I think they're coming next week.
I kind of went that way and said, well, we must have just missed them. We'll see them tomorrow.
Tell them you got the call. She doesn't know. Yeah, she doesn't know. Tell them they died. I don't. Yeah. No, don't do that.
I'm so sorry they died on the bus.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that. But tell them that their plans changed and they just called to let you know. If you have to get on the phone and have a short conversation, hang up before she has to use your phone to hear them. But think of something that will reassure her. But keep exploring what's going on in her mind. My mother, and this happens to all of us that are dementia caregivers. Are you here to take me home? When am I going home?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every day.
Killed my soul. Give me just a minute. Killed my soul because I didn't know how to answer. I discovered later that I would therapeutic lie and say, well, Mom, you're here because you fell. And I had a picture of the sheetrock that she put her head in the hole. And I said, and as soon as your doctor releases you and says you're strong enough, I'm going to be delighted to take you home. Therapeutic fibbing. Another thing on that same lines is one day I started saying, well, Mom, tell me what home looks like. And I expected her, when it was grieving, when it was hurting me, I expected her to tell me about the porch in Wimberley, where we would sit out and watch the deer and the fox and be so comfortable. And she started describing the house that in 1954 was where I was born and raised. It wasn't the house. So it was me overlaying my memories, expecting her to have the same memories. And they don't. But I got her talking about the home, and that was what she needed to do. Yes, ma'am.
Quick story that I heard on public radio years ago, and tell me if you think this would work or not. Can everybody hear me? the story is that there was an aunt of a young couple who had dementia, and the young couple decided, after much discussion, that they would like to have her come and live with them because they were amateur stand-up comics, and they thought they had this idea that whatever she throws at us, we can riff off of it, and we can make it a party. We can make it fun, and in fact, that's what they did. And it seemed to work very well, that whatever she threw at them, I need to go to the bus stop, and this is why. They would riff, they would go with it, they'd talk about this person in the past, or these people, and what they liked about them, what they didn't like about them, and it became fun. And it's not so much the story or the fibbing or how you weave it, it's that you're having fun and laughing that changes the whole deal.
Absolutely. I don't have it in my presentation, but with dementia caregivers, I would encourage you to journal because there's going to be so much funny stuff that comes up. And journal about the bad times too, but don't wait on them. A friend of mine.
Are you laughing at them then?
No, you're laughing with them. You're laughing with them. And that I will go over when I talk about laughter.
I can attest to that. If my mom says something crazy and I'll make some sort of comment and she realizes how far off she is, she'll laugh herself. I mean, I totally agree with you that laughter, it's just so hard sometimes when you're the caregiver to feel that, oh, funny about any of this crap. So, I mean, yeah, no, the laughter doesn't.
You're not laughing at them. What I was talking about is journaling so that you can remember when it's over and have a way to remember the good times. So a friend of mine, her husband had dementia. And they were sitting out on the rocking chairs, and the husband looked over to my friend and said, I'm going to use your name, Deanne, who are you? And she said, well, I'm Deanne. And he said, no, who are you? And she finally realized that what he was asking is what the relationship was. And she said, well, Sam, I'm your wife of 45 years. And he said, oh, I was afraid of that. The sister-in-law read that journal entry at the funeral. Were they laughing at Sam? No, they weren't laughing at him. They were laughing with him. They were laughing with some of the things that happens with dementia caregivers.
I have a story.
Yes, ma'am.
I said to my husband, I said, you should appreciate me. Married men live longer than single men. And he said, do they want to?
Honey, I don't think he had dementia. I miss this one. And I'm guilty of myself sometimes, but I really pick it up with other people. I picked it up with you earlier. You said, Mom, don't you remember we went by that house? Well, who's driving the car? Not the one that's cognitively impaired. You're the one. But I hear all the time myself. Okay, so this is what happens. About darn time I wanted to leave, right when I clocked in. Okay. Go to see somebody with dementia, and as soon as we get there, if we are not prepared, we're ready to leave because we don't know what to do. So we're going to go over some preparation. Now, we go, if we're lucky. If we're lucky, I make a list before I go to the store. If I'm really, really lucky, I take the list with me. Just the way it is, okay? But this is my thing of taking stuff with you to help promote activities and having a list. There's a good book by a Canadian woman, I can't remember the name of it, and she gives you voice prompts, voice questions of things you can talk about. Because it's not easy when you're sitting there with someone you know and you expect them, well, remember when you were an engineer on the, well, they know. But you can ask them in a way, do you like trains? Did you like trains when you were a little boy? Yeah. You can prepare in advance to talk to people so you don't get stuck being completely amazed when you don't know what you're doing. So I came up, I think it's called an acronym. Is that where you have letters? Good from me. I didn't say I was brilliant. Okay. So you can remember this. And L equals love. And that's on your sheets. And this really is important. L equals love. Now, how do you know you're loved? How do you know? People tell you affirmations, okay? They help you. Okay, you know they touch, and when you feel love, right. Those are perfect examples. How do we know we are loved? Okay, my top two are touch, nonverbal communication, and laughter. Laughter, and L could be for laughter. Okay, and this is what I wanted to get with on Sandy's question. How often do we laugh every day? Y'all have done good today. I must be on. Okay, but how often on normal days do we actually laugh? Okay, not enough. Okay, have you ever had laugh practice? Okay, we're going to have laugh practice right now. Okay, what are y'all laughing about? You don't know. That's exactly the way it is with a dementia caregiver. You start laughing at something you find funny, and they start laughing. They don't understand the joke, but they're getting the benefit of the laughter. I have one of my favorite things that just cracks me up every time is I have some YouTube videos. Have y'all seen the one? It's out of the British Isles where the woman is breaking into her own house and climbing in the window. I'll show it to you afterwards. But it's hysterical. Every time I see that, I start laughing. I have a printed sheet of auto responses where the responses have gone bad. Okay, my cousin says when I'm cussing the autocorrect, she says, just think of it as a drunk leprechaun that's really trying to help you. But it's very, very drunk, okay? Because you write mother and it comes out mayor, yo mayor, you know. Keep things like that make you laugh. Is a dementia person going to understand? No, who cares? If they're laughing at you, they're laughing with you, and they're getting a tremendous benefit. So love, nonverbal communication. From the first moment you walk in to see somebody, your nonverbal communication matters, okay? I've got 5 minutes. I got to get out of here. Hi. That's not it, okay? But when I would walk in to see Mother, cross the room, eye contact, you know, and then go directly for her, and then touch. We don't touch enough. We hug when we get there. We hug when we leave. That's not enough, okay? What about when we're sitting there, if we're just stroking their shoulder, patting them on the back, okay? What if one of the activities we do is take some hand cream and give them a hand massage? What if we brush their hair? Touch is so important in our communication of our love. And see, I got ahead of myself again because I even found a picture of a hand massage. Now, I know. None of us can watch this. I went to see Carol Burnett on stage a number of years ago, and all she did were clips from her show, but she would explain what was going on behind the scenes. I had to go home to get my asthma inhaler because I laughed so much at that woman. I can't watch Carol Burnett and Tim Conway without laughing. So this is why this, again, is reinforcing what I was already saying. Take something that makes you laugh and watch it with them. Read it to them. Listen to it. Because the laughter is so much a part of the L. Okay, so the next one we have is A, accomplishment. Why do y'all think you're filling in those sheets? You all think you want to accomplish something. You want to remember something, because we all feel better when we have a task, when we're valued, when we get to do something. You know, we take somebody that's got dementia and we put them, you know, in a chair and say, well, I'm going to cook. And they'll say, well, let me cook. And they'll say, no, you can't cook. You know, you can't set the plate. You can't do anything. And we're robbing them of their self-respect, of their good feelings about self-esteem. Okay, wait a minute, I got here.
So my mother-in-law, Shirley, I just love her to death, has dementia. And for years and years, she baked cookies on Monday to take to the local fire station, and on Tuesday she took them to the Salvation Army, where she volunteered for 13 years. She's in her upper 80s. But these cookies, over the years and the dementia, began to get less inviting. We would arrive, and she lived in McAllen, we would arrive in McAllen, and she's got a freezer full of cookies that she's saved just for us. And I'm going, oh, heaven help me! We were just laughing about it.
Therapeutic fibbing, throw them out and say, those were so good, we ate all of them. Accomplishment is important, and it might be like having them fold clothes. I don't like doing that. I don't like it doing anything, actually. But to them, it's a joyful thing. Now, what I would take down, and I normally have it in my bag, is a pair of brass candlesticks that my sister gave to my mother. And I would tell Mother, Jeannie's coming, and I need these polished. Because Jeannie is a little OCD, okay? And so I put Mother to work polishing those. And it was just wonderful because I wasn't going to, okay? But they gave her something to do. Okay, there's the brass candlesticks. Okay, that's not my sister. Okay, but I want you to remember this. If you want something done properly, if you want it done quickly, if you want it done correctly, do it yourself. That is not the point of this. The point of this is to give them the accomplishment and give them lots of compliments. Gosh, that is so helpful to me. Now, my other sister created a card game. She got these big cards, and she would take them to the memory care center, and she'd say, Mom, I'm having a card game, but I'm not certain all the cards are here. Would you help me sort them? They'd sit there and sort into suits, and then they had to put in order. Okay? Brilliant. Take a little bitty card deck. That's all you have to carry. But it gives them a sense that they did something to help. Puzzles. I liked this one. I found this online. And it's basically, there's no way to really screw it up. All the pieces still fit the same way. But it's colorful, it's big. I would get Mom the big puzzles, like 12-piece, very colorful. One of the things I did is I took a picture of the family and put it on a sheet of paper and then cut it into squares and created my own puzzle. And then we could sit and look at the pictures that were on it. She could name who she recognized. So accomplishment can be done so many ways. April?
Don't be surprised though, depending on this dementia, if they can't, 15 to 12, just can't
Absolutely.
conceptualize how this would ever work out.
That is one of the things with this, is the reason I carry a bag with me of different, You need to be very flexible. They can do something, they might not be able to. Well, if you've taken a puzzle for that day, and by golly, you're going to do that puzzle, you've got the wrong attitude, okay? You need to say, oh, you don't want to do a puzzle today? Let's do this. Let's do that.
Or you have to modify, like the cards. Say, okay, they can't do the Jack Ten King. Can you help me sort these out? Can you put all the red ones,
Right.
I'll do the black ones?
Yes.
So you have to learn to improvise.
You are the one that is not cognitively impaired. You are the one that gets to think and be the detective and be the creator of this. So that's the A for accomplishment. Okay. M, music. Music. I'm going to go ahead and play this clip. Maybe I will play this clip. I might play that clip. I've never done this before. It's one before. Oh, well, I guess I'm playing that clip. There's a brilliant clip on YouTube. And I'd never tried to put it into it.
PowerPoint,
I'm in PowerPoint.
try hitting the space bar instead of the arrow.
Okay, let me get back.
No, never mind.
So
I think
that's
I've-
on YouTube?
No, the one before it that I can't show you. But it's a precious clip of a.
On a PowerPoint, you can always go to the previous slide by touching P for previous, and then P
Oh,
again
well, here it
for
is.
previous.
It's just not going to do
For
it.
next.
Okay.
I'll give you Tylenol when we get home.
Thank you. I was thinking about a margarita. Okay. Well, I'll just tell you all about it. That's fine. I can see it. There's this marvelous clip, and in fact, there's several of them on YouTube, and they're inspirational to watch. This is a senior, very senior, elderly black man, had dementia for 10 years, okay? And he's in a nursing care, and he just sits all day, you know, and he's the kind that it hurts your heart to see. But someone suggested putting earphones on him, and specifically suggested playing the music that he liked, which happened to be Cab Calloway. And the guy goes from this to this and singing, remembers the words, and then even after the music ended, they were able to communicate with him for the first time. Hey, Henry, who was your favorite? Do you like music? Yeah, I love music. I love music. You used to go to all the dances. Yeah. Well, who was your favorite? Oh, I gotta think about. Cab Calloway. Well, what was your favorite Cab Calloway song? And he starts singing it. You know, it's amazing what the power of music can do. And the reason it can is the last part of the brain that is affected by dementia is a part of the brain that stores memory. Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
I discovered too how music just, you play music all day long. And so my husband is at home with me. And I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning because he usually gets up at 7:30. At 6 o'clock in the morning I can do my thing and I play some nice, mostly instrumental. He gets too emotional with vocal. And I think he's sleeping. And I'm playing some really nice smooth jazz, and I hear it. And he's like, oh, he comes out of the bedroom and dancing. They're always dancing and singing on the street, we're whistling. It's amazing how he all of a sudden just start whistling a tune, and I think, what is that tune?
Yes.
And he just laughs.
Yes. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's also a good distraction technique, is to put on music and try using music to distract them when they're locked in on something. Okay.
Spotify
Spotify.
All day long.
Now, don't put on Twisted Sisters or, any of the hard rock, Go back to the music they enjoy. There's a next door neighbor. Her mother was the organ player for a church. Okay, this woman remembers nothing now, nothing. But her son came down and sat down at her piano and started playing. And she came and sat down and started playing with him and singing the old gospel songs. It's amazing what music can do. Mitch Miller, I know y'all remember that. Yes, sir.
I was going to say, I've done that very thing with people. They can't communicate, and I'll start singing some of these old songs, memories from that we used to sing as kids of the similar age, and they will sing along with me. They don't need a book.
No.
They don't need words in front of them. No. They will suddenly start to sing along.
Yeah.
It's really comforting for them.
Sometimes they like the words. I like Mitch Miller because remember Follow the Bouncing Ball? Yes, ma'am.
My aunt was the same age as my mother. My mother just loved big band music and loved to dance. And my aunt, Joan, also loved to dance, and I just assumed she was the same age. She must love big band music. I love big band music. So whenever I go visit her, I put on big band music. And she just didn't seem like she was, as animated as my mom. And I finally asked her, do you like this? And she said, well, it's not my favorite. I said, well, what is? She said, I like the music.
Yeah. Can't assume anything, can we? Well, I like Mitch. But you know what happens when you put music with this? It's like you get on steroids when you put music with movement. Okay. We think of them in their wheelchairs. No, they can't move. Yeah, they can. They can tap their feet. They can clap their hands. In fact, this is what I got. They can dance, yeah. This is what I got off of Amazon that I take with me. It's got things that I can hand out. And my favorite are actually the handbells. You can take things with you and listen to them and let them be a part of the sound, okay? But dance. Now this next picture, it'd be interesting to know if any of y'all recognize this couple. I did not know it. They are a major favorite of mine in Wimberley. Anytime there's a music event, which in Wimberley is several times a week, Jack and Maggie are there. Maggie's had Alzheimer's for 5 years now. Okay. And the reason I said some of y'all might know them is because they lived down here for 16 years. They would be 16 years down here and go back to the States for 6 months. 6 months, 6 months, okay? He gets her, he arranges to make certain she's dressed and, pardon me?
Can you speak up a little bit?
Sorry. He makes certain she's dressed and she's always got her bracelets on, her necklaces on and everything and her hair done. And they go to every musical venue there is. In fact, the night I was at this, the band that was playing had actually written a special song called Jack and Maggie. Okay, it was so sweet. I've got to get a recording of that. But she lost her sight at the same time she started losing her memory. Okay? But music relates to her. She loves it. And he has made the statement, and I can't quote exactly, but she is the first person I loved that I danced with, and she will be the last person I'll dance with. They are so kind. It's such an inspiration. And so I asked him if I could have this, and that's when he started telling me he lived down here for 16 years. Yes, sir.
Because there also with hospitals, I found that when people are like in a coma, you think they're not understanding and music will connect with people that are seemingly not responsive at all.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, and then we have the one last point on movement. Guys, y'all got to get sidewalks down here. If you want me to move, you're going to have to get sidewalks. I got this clip because, yes, they can dance in wheelchairs. Okay, they can. Just take them, get them moving. I'll tell you, part of this presentation is because somebody in this room had a church group that went to sing for a nursing home, which is great. And I had this happen at Mom's. They came to the house. It was a ladies' ukulele band. And they would play the ukuleles and sing, okay? And that was wonderful. But I didn't realize until later how much nicer it would have been if one of the ukulele ladies had started dancing with Mom. If I had started dancing with Mom. Oh, and another thing about adding movement. Do y'all remember Itsy Bitsy Spider? Okay. Yeah. Those are things they remember. I came in one time, Mother was in a group, and they were playing down by the old mill stream. Now, I had a 6th grade teacher that was stuck in the 40s. And so in 6th grade, she was teaching us all the World War II songs. But she taught us how to do Down by the Old Mill Stream, where I first met you. It was there. Y'all get the full thing. I knew that I loved you too. Well, I started doing this. Good going. Got the whole group to it, and my mother said, "Where did you learn that?" Anything you can do to get them moving is wonderful. Okay, P. Be present. Be present. Park your time limitations, your what else do I have to do this afternoon at the front door so that when you walk in to visit with somebody, you are present with them. Make contact with them. Now, I mentioned just then that Mother was in a group. Well, as soon as Mother saw me and the group had ended, let's go to my room. Why? She wanted one-on-one attention. It's not the same of having a whole group. She wants me touching, being with her, being present. And we have a tendency in our world, especially in the States, but in our world, I am so proud of y'all. Not one person here has picked up their cell phone. It's amazing. I have a coaster on my coaster. I had to quit carrying it because I kept breaking it. But I'm having people over to stare at their phones later if you want to come by. Isn't it the truth? We go to a restaurant and people aren't talking anymore. And I'm bad about it. But I'm not bad when I go see somebody with dementia because I want to be present for them. Yeah. Fire him. Okay. But fire him or send him to this workshop. Okay, I've got L is for love or laughter. Okay. A.
Music.
A. Who said music? A is for. Okay. M.
Music.
And P. Being present. Okay, now I have a last story I want to tell you about Mom. I don't know here in Mexico, but in the States, almost all of the memory care centers are built in a square or rectangle. And all of this side is their dining room and lobby, and then all down these sides are the residents' rooms. So I went in to see Mom, and here she was coming down the hallway in her wheelchair, and I was still in the lobby. And she said, "Oh, looky who's here," and the face just lit up. Just made me feel so good. But Mom was in a very active mood that day. So she went through the lobby and started down the other hallway. Well, there wasn't any need for me to follow her. I knew where she was going to end up. So I sat down in a chair. And sure enough, in a little bit, Here she came down the hallway and she said, how long have you been here? It's so good to see you. And I said, well, I wanted to come visit with you, Mom. I'm so glad to see you. She kept going. Ran around again, and the third time she said, I've been looking for you everywhere. But every time she rode down that hallway, her face just lit up. Just lit up. Of course, I was her favorite, but it just lit up. It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. Anyone that she knew was there for her, that loved her, that was there to touch her, laugh with her, be with her. It lit up her face. So I'm hoping with this little presentation that you have learned that you too. You use the L-A-M-P. What does it spell? Not the N. Lamp. Okay? That you can be a beacon of light for somebody with dementia and bring them so much joy. I want to explain one thing. You've seen my little logo there. I want to tell you about the forget-me-not flower. Okay. So that's frequently a symbol with Alzheimer's or dementia groups. And you can kind of read. I chose it for Dementia Care Share. It represents hope, courage, resilience for those battling or caring for it. But when I adopted it, it was different from me. I adopted it because I started thinking of my mother giving me this flower and what it might have meant for her. And it was kind of like I imagined her giving me a prayer with the forget-me-not. And this is what it said to me. Please forget me not. Remember me as I was before this devastating disease began to erode my mind. Cherish the cheerful moments we shared and all the ordinary times in between. As you grapple with the hollow shell that now mirrors the person you once knew, I implore you to show compassion in caring for me. Visit me even when I no longer recognize you. Ensure that I am nourished and looked after as I am no longer capable of doing these things for myself. Forgive me for any instances where I may have upset you and know that I forgive you. Understand that I love you even when I am unable to express it. When my journey on this earth concludes, I ask that you gently tuck away the memories as I am now into a distant corner of your mind. Instead, hold on to the vivid image of who I used to be when I was your friend, your wife, your husband, your mother, your father, your son, or your daughter. That is the person that I hope you remember. That's what the forget-me-not means to me. Now, if Deanne and Charlotte will come up here. They were so wonderful to put this together and do so much organization and get everyone together. And there is your forget-me-not pin. And Deanne, since I'm not capable, would you pin it on her and she can pin it on you? I no telling where I'd get it pinned. Yeah.
I can do it myself.
This is a woman that came. Okay.
Or independent.
And then it has a little card in there with the saying on it. And I wanted to give this to the two of you and sincere thanks for all you did to get this together.
No. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you know, I have a suggestion. This was such an amazing presentation. You're beautiful. It was wonderful. She said, critique me now. Tell me everything I did wrong. Honestly, you did nothing wrong. It was beautiful. And we have a Spanish community that has never heard these things. And they're coping with the same things. We have a pastor and his wife coming, and she teaches Spanish and English. I vote that we have Jane come and have our pastor's wife translate. She's here in August when they come, and I think that it would be wonderful to have something for our Spanish speaking congregations. That's just a suggestion.
Thank you,
I mean,
Jane.
I'd be glad to do. I am starting a new website. I'm trying to put together courses. I'm working on another book. I also am going to be offering personal counseling. Not counseling, I'm sorry, coaching, for if anyone needs me. But go on my website and see what I have. Please, I know that I will answer emails and try and be complete about answering them, even if I don't remember your name anymore.
I want to say how I met Jane. She offered to be a pet sitter for me, so we got to know each other through that.
She is
And
also a pet sitter.
Yeah, well, anyways, the thing is that my husband had dementia, and she caught on to that, and I forget, she said, and she was so helpful to me on the phone. She would counsel me through things, and she would tell me feelings that I was having that I didn't realize I was having, and it was wonderful. She's a wonderful resource.
Thank you all very much. Yes, ma'am. We still got a little time for question and answer?
A little time, yeah.
Or if y'all want to break and just come up personally, or what? She got first, you're second.
Hey, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned it has prompts for conversation starters.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have some of those posted on your website?
I don't think I do, but that's a great suggestion. I do have started some 2-minute, everything I do, you can tell, these are not war and peace. I have another part of my mission. Caregivers don't have time. You don't have time. This was good, okay? But my books are written to like a 2nd, 3rd grade level. They're easy to read. They don't use fancy jargon, okay? I believe everything needs to be short and sweet. I have started putting some 2-minute videos, 2-minute or less videos with some of my hints on my website. So I'm always all about being short, concise, solution-driven. But that is a great suggestion. I think that would make a good video. We've got to think about it some more. Okay?
Googled it. So ask Alzheimer's patients or dementia patients, so there's all kinds of things.
Information on the internet.
Yeah, questions to ask or ways to prompt conversations or what not to do. There's some of these that say, don't do this. So there's some information even if you Google it.
My favorite book that I think a number of you got is called Communicating. It's got 20 attempts. Don't argue, tell therapeutic lies, join them in their reality. Gosh, there's just so much you can learn in communication. Keep your sentences. I cover this in one of my YouTube videos. Don't go in and say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, okay? Don't use the big words. If you don't think they're big words, don't use the big words. Don't use the jargon that is special to you in your life. Talk in sentences that are short, that are easy to understand. I like sentences for Alzheimer's and dementia patients that are no longer than 7 words. Really, I like kind of 5 words, okay? So they don't have to...
Linda had a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I actually just wanted to say something quick. Not everybody who's lived here or has lived here for a long time speaks Spanish. My husband and I are part of it, and a lot of our church members don't speak Spanish. But the language we love, there we go, doesn't have to be Spanish down there. The nursing home that our church has been to twice now, none of the ladies over there speak a word of English. And we go over there, we sing
Spanish songs. We found Spanish songs that they relate to, that they used to sing when they were younger. And all of a sudden, they're all singing with us.
I've seen you guys in Ohana.
They start out.
Oh, yeah, Ohana. No, this is a Spanish, not-for-profit.
It's across the lake.
It's across the lake. It's all Spanish people.
Yes.
I would not go into that same center and be singing them down by Old Mill Stream. Yeah, they'd just be looking at me.
The hand signal.
Oh, the hand signals. They do it when I was down there.
But it's so interesting just really got with it. Yes, when we first got there, we've been there twice now. When we first got there, we just sit because they've been told to come to this big room and enjoy what we're going to bless them with, but actually it's them blessing us. But they'll start out just sitting, and then I'm not musically inclined, so the people that are would start singing. All of a sudden, it's looking up. Some of them, I got between two legs and wouldn't let me go. The one would put her head on my shoulder, her arm around, I had no idea what she was thinking.
And then we made them laugh by dancing with each other and goofing out.
Yes. So it was fun.
No, but I think the point really is important is to talk in the language they know, or the songs in the language they know. And I'm sure the Mexican heritage has the same sort of songs that they all played when they were little that we have in the States. Even if you don't sing, take those songs and put them on an old-fashioned CD, or however, use your Spotify phone on.
Well, I go to YouTube Music, and we have a Spanish member. She said these songs are good, so I downloaded those songs on my thing, and I got a speaker, and I just did Bluetooth onto the speaker, and it worked really well.
And everything we need to put our egos aside and join their reality. Yes.
Who
Okay.
learned something today? Okay. Let's thank
Thank you.
Jane Wyatt.
Can we use the video for a little bit longer? Kim, can we use it for just a little bit longer? If somebody wants to go back and be videoed personally saying, what did I learn today? That would be nice if you feel like doing it. Just tell me something you learned. And I may use it on my website. I thank you in advance for that.
And go back to Kim.
Go back to Kim.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you.
I learned the importance of doing things that involve the person that we're visiting, like hand motions, like reaching out to them and touching them and exchanging messages back and forth by hand or visual ways, not just speaking at them and to them. Thank you.